Hey guys, welcome to another painting guide. In today's video I will show you how you can paint orange armor on your miniatures using a simple trick that will make it super easy to achieve a nice and vibrant end result. And the funny thing is that I will be doing it without using any orange paints. If you've ever tried painting orange on your minis, you probably noticed how difficult it can be. Covering anything with orange is a pain, and even if you manage to do it, the end result is never as colorful and vibrant as you imagined. So today I will use some of these new Infinity minis recently released by Corvus Belli to show you how you can fix that. But of course this method can work on any other miniature as well. These just happen to be good examples with a great design, and their official color scheme is exactly what we want to go for. I will use three models: a large stag, an infantry model, and a mid-sized drone, so I can show how this works on both larger and smaller models and how you can do this trick with a brush but also with an airbrush. I will concentrate on the orange armor in this video, but if you want to see how I did the models from start to finish, as usual there are detailed PDF painting guides on my Patreon, plus a multiple hour time-lapse video with a ton of real-time footage so you can see exactly how I did it. Alright, let's start painting. I will start from a black prime model, which might seem like madness since everyone knows that it's much easier to paint orange over a white primer or even a zenithal highlight. But the thing is, I'm not gonna start by painting orange here. In fact, I won't be really using any orange paints in this video at all. Instead, I start by base coating all the armor panels with Beast Brown from AK Interactive. And now you could argue that this is basically a dark orangish brown, but it says brown on the bottle, so technically I'm still in the clear here, no actual orange used. And since this is a much darker color than your usual orange paint, it's much easier to cover the black. That being said, I'm still painting over a pure black primer, so I'm using 3-4 coats to get full coverage. I don't really thin the paint, I only use the moisture in the brush from rinsing it in the mug and whatever moisture the paint is absorbing from the wet palette. So this is me putting on pretty thick paint, but as you can see, the first couple of layers still come out quite blotchy and the black is peeking through in some places. Don't be afraid of this and try to fix it while it's drying. That will lead to all kinds of ugliness that we don't want. Simply accept it, wait for it to dry and apply another layer until it looks nice. Also, if you feel that it's good enough, it probably isn't and you need to do another layer. This step might seem boring and you want to jump to the actual painting, but you can save a lot of time later by doing this properly now and the end result will look much better as well. Okay, after this stage is done, your minis should look something like this. Nice uniform brown with a dark orangish feel to them. For the next step, I mix something like 30% volcanic yellow into Beast Brown so I can sketch the first highlights on the panels. And this might seem like a complicated process, but actually it's quite simple. I create a brighter area on every panel, usually on the side that is higher up or closer to where the light would hit. And on the side that is further down or in shadow, I leave the original darker brown. And on the border between the two, I create lots of scratches and random marks to make it look fuzzier, which makes it easier to create a smooth transition later on. With this simple step, I create a map for myself showing where the lights and the shadows are on each panel. And from now on, I don't have to think about it, I just follow this guide and everything will look nice and consistent. With that done, now we will start doing the trick I was talking about. Let me first demonstrate it on the arm of the large stag model before we tackle everything else. I will show this first with the brush on this small element, and then I will demonstrate it with both the airbrush and the brush on a larger area, so you can use whichever you are more comfortable with. I take pure volcanic yellow now, which is a bright orangish yellow color, but once again it's a yellow and not orange, so I am still playing by my own rules. I continue highlighting the arm with this color, following the guide that I painted there with the previous mix, but now making the brighter highlight slightly smaller. In this case, the arm looks a little like a cylinder, so I make a shadow on both sides, a little bigger at the bottom and a smaller one on the top. But normally you would do this with a paint that is just a little brighter than the previous one, and this yellow is super bright compared to the previous layer. Not to mention that it's way too yellow as well, considering that we want to go for orange. But bear with me for a second, it will make sense, I promise. Once again, I am applying multiple coats to get full coverage, especially in the middle of the big highlight. I also paint all the edges of the panel and I make some random marks and scratches on the border between the two colors. In the end, the middle is a super bright yellow, while on both sides there are small darker patches where you can still see the original brown peeking out from under some texture. It looks very bright and yellow and somehow very wrong for what we want in the end, so now it is time to fix that. Our secret ingredient will be this intense sienna ink. I'm using one from the AK Interactive range, but basically every ink range has this color, so you can go with whichever you can find near you. The important thing is that it's a nice reddish orange sienna ink, and as usual with inks, the color is super saturated and vibrant. I use this essentially as a wash, diluting it a little with water on the wet palette and painting it over the whole surface. And just like a wash, you can also move it around a bit, dragging it away from the middle of the highlight but letting a larger amount settle in the shadows. Once it dried, and it is very important to let it fully dry, I applied another layer, but this time only dragging it from the midtones into the shadows, not touching the middle of the highlight. This way I'm making the shadows even darker, creating more contrast, and I'm also making the midtones even more orangish. And as you can see, our little trick is working. We have created a very colorful orange armor with close to reddish shadows. Now we can bring up the rest of the model to the same standard and also paint the other two in a similar fashion before doing some more highlighting and weathering to get the final result we want. Let me leave you with some footage of me painting the highlights on all three models so you can observe how I prepare them for the ink wash. I suggest paying attention to how I highlight all the edges, add a big solid highlight, do some scratches on the border between the light and the shadow areas, and then on larger panels I glaze a little over the border to make it smoother. Okay, now that the yellow highlights are done, let me first show you how you can apply the ink with an airbrush to speed things up on the large tag model, and then also with a brush on the drone and the infantry guy. I simply loaded the ink, diluted only with a little airbrush thinner, into the airbrush, and I sprayed it slowly, mostly from below. I didn't try to fully avoid the highlights since I still wanted them to get the orange hue, but I concentrated most of my efforts into the shadow areas. Initially I went a little too far and covered too much, so I reapplied some of the volcanic yellow highlights on the edges and some of the light areas. Then I sprayed some more ink to integrate the new highlights, but also to darken the shadows further. Using the airbrush works quite well, especially on the larger models, but you can do this perfectly well with a normal brush as well. Check out how I used the wash and then corrected the highlights on the infantry model and the drone with a brush. Alright, now we have a nice base for the orange armor. It's time to highlight it further to make it really look good. I switched to a brighter and more intense yellow color, and with this I edge highlighted all the panels except the edges which were completely in the dark or turned away from the light. I also made a lot of scratches and marks inside the middle of the biggest highlights and also coming in from the edges, basically everywhere. If you want to keep it simple and you don't want to make the armor look as beaten up and used as mine, then you can skip these sketches and focus only on the edges. The next color is quite crucial to make the armor look well defined and bright. I use Purulent Yellow, which unlike the previous colors has quite a bit of white in it. This means that it blends much less into what we did before and it will appear quite bright and obvious wherever we paint it. So I used it quite sparingly and thinly, only on the edges pointing up towards the light, and I also made thinner and smaller scratches with it inside the previous larger ones where possible. Once again, these scratches are optional, but they add a lot of character and visual interest to the models in my opinion, and they also brighten up the panels a little, so I suggest adding them. I have a video on the channel explaining how to do them, so if you think they are a little intimidating to do, check that out. Before we finish with the absolute final highlight color, there is one more optional thing we can do to make the armor more interesting by adding some battle damage with chipping. I did this mainly on the tag model using this dark reddish brown color by adding small dots and marks more or less randomly with the tip of the brush. I did it mostly on the edges and corners where the paint would chip off the armor during use. Plus, I did some scratch marks in the middle of the panels as well. Alternatively, you can do this with a piece of foam dipped into the paint as well, like I did it here on the black armor panels. This way you have less control over where the marks are going, but it's much easier to make them seem random than with the brush. Great, now the armor looks even more beaten up. Now it's time to add the final highlights and call it a day. I took some ice yellow and with this almost white color I painted only some of the most important edges which could be hit by the light coming from above the most. But I was careful to not cover the chipping I just did, instead I drew the highlight around them. I also outlined the bottom of the largest chips and scratches I did on the panels, and I painted the little freehand triangle on the arm of the tag. And after blocking in everything around the armor with black so we can see what we actually accomplished, the end result looks like this. Of course, the models at this point were far from finished, so once I was done with the orange armor, I painted the metal bits and the black armor panels plus all the other various bits. If you want to see how I did all of this in detail, you can find everything in the PDF guide on my Patreon, including all the paints used, and you can watch me paint everything in real time in the time-lapse video which I uploaded there as well. But with everything painted in, this is how the orange armor looks with all the details around it. And with that, we have reached the end of this video. I hope I managed to show you something interesting that you can use in your own painting as well. If you use any of this, I would love to see the results, so don't hesitate to tag me on Instagram. But before I sign off, I wanted to thank my Patreon members for their continued support. They are the ones that make this channel possible. Without them, I wouldn't be able to dedicate the time necessary to keep the channel going. And that is especially true for the ones in the captain level. Thank you guys, see you in the next one.